Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the PowerWomen podcast.
This is a show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss powerful issues, and the men and women who help us rise.
And we are your hosts with three very different backgrounds and very different perspectives. I'm Brandy Jo Newman.
I'm Gayatri Agnew.
And I'm your Power Mom, Claire Brown. Hey, y'all. Hey, we're back again this week. And Brandy Jo and I are here today. Hey, Brandy Jo.
Hey, Claire.
I'm so excited. And you have our guest. And who is the amazing Power Woman we're talking with this week?
We are talking with Kathleen Celmins. I met Kathleen through a Podmatch service last year. She came on the Brandy Jo show last year, and we just had a good time. We went on and on about everything business and woman and trying to figure everything out. And then Kathleen became a client of mine. So we've been working together for a little over 7 months. And when
Nice.
you so graciously asked me to be a co-host on the PowerWomen podcast, you said, send me a list, and Kathleen was at the top of my list. So welcome, Kathleen.
Thanks so much. I love that intro.
You're welcome.
And I'm so excited to have you. Yeah. And so it's my understanding too, Kathleen, that you help people take their ideas and monetize them, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Well, it's funny because it's really evolved since ChatGPT became available to the public, because now you can go from idea to product in less than 30 days. So it's really, really fun to have AI help us at the intersection of marketing and sales, because it means that solopreneurs can scale without hiring really, really easily, create new revenue streams, and see which ones will hit and test them early and get things off the ground so that we avoid the problem of keeping things in our head for so long that we wait until somebody else who executes faster takes that market share.
That's right.
Yeah. So two things. You just said AI is fun and keeping things in my head, neither of which I've ever considered to be on my list.
So
Go ahead,
Kathleen,
Brandy Jo.
because we talked about this in my podcast, and with somebody with the personality like Claire, she just says, I'm going to do this, and she does that. And it's very hands-on, it's very tactical. And what you've done is that you have, from what I have witnessed and been through with you, is that you have constantly upgraded and evolved your business services with going from the well-paid expert, and now you're able to, from just what I'm seeing on your social media and then reading your book, that you can go from idea and go through all that testing and everything and then get an actual money-making product in less than 30 days. When before it would take, it could take upwards of years to get that done.
Right. Especially if you're not like Claire, especially if you really want to go back and forth on ideas, and maybe we need to change the font and should it be left aligned or centered. And you go through all those things that actually don't matter. And
the perfectionist
and then you can
syndrome.
go into the idea. Yeah. And you just get stuck, and then you think, and then the other part is the curse of the expert is the more you learn about something, the more you think everybody else already knows it. So then you think, well, everybody already knows this. But the truth is, not anybody, but lots of people who are coming across you are coming across the ideas that you have been repeating over and over and over again for the very first time. And so you think, everybody knows this. And you say something like, everybody should have XYZ. And somebody comes to you and they're like, what? That just changed my mind on everything.
Right. And the same thing
so
in my business too.
Yes.
Go ahead, Claire.
Especially true in your business, because you're like, well, everybody knows what you need to know. And you're like, no, not everybody has a Series 7. Come on.
Well, I don't either, so we don't need to go there.
But there's so many things. Oh my gosh.
Well,
So there's so
But that's
many
okay.
things though that you've helped people build. So like what are the examples and some of the ideas that have come into turn or that have the ideas that have turned into mailbox money?
Yeah, so it's a lot of times we play in my corner of the internet, we play in the realm of info products. So some sort of process that somebody came to me and said, I just don't have anything. I don't have an idea for anything, but I do have this process that I've used to onboard people in less than 2 weeks, and they're up to speed and they know everything about my company in 2 weeks. And I was like, you don't think that that could be productized? Like,
Right.
like that's about, 5.5 months shorter than a lot of people take for onboarding. So,
Yeah.
like a lot of times it's just like you have, especially if you've been in business for 2, 5, 10, 20 years, you have a lot of assets that somebody who's just starting out in your field doesn't have. And if you could think about what you would do to like mentor somebody to get to where you are faster than it took you, then that's the very beginning of an outline for a digital product.
It's a fabulous training tool.
It can be, yeah.
Mhm.
And Kathleen, let's talk about your career as you're an entrepreneur, but you are specifically in the internet realm, in the infopreneur, if you will. How did you get started, and how long ago was it?
So, my origin story is I backed into it through content creation. 2011, I woke up on my 30th birthday in credit card debt. And so I thought, gosh, and this is my ego, right? Like I thought, gosh, I'm way too smart to be this far into credit card debt. And so I got to
Yeah.
figure this out. And that was in 2010, it was just the very beginning of like Blogspot and WordPress and like the very beginning of content marketing. And so I blogged my way out of personal finance debt. I started in the personal finance corner of the internet. And that actually ended up being, even today, it's one of the more profitable niches you can get into. So sort of lucked out that way. Found I sort of lost my steam for writing about debt because it was a traumatic point for me. And once I got out of it, I didn't really want to talk about it anymore, but that's what everybody wanted to keep talking about. And
Yeah.
I thought, I think I shouldn't keep writing about this. It's not good for me. I'm leaving that person behind. And that was when a friend of mine came to me and said, I can do the content piece of it. Why don't you help with the monetization and the business end of it? And so I helped build the Stacking Benjamins podcast from pre-revenue to multiple six figures. And now they're on Westwood One, which is like a real radio station across the United States. So it was a really cool partnership. But by the end of that, by 2018 or so, I realized like I was just very, very much done with personal finance. Leave it to experts like Brandy Joe instead to discuss the finer points of spend less, earn more, invest the difference. I was seeing that the people in that space were so afraid to charge for things and that they just needed some help, partly with mindset and just partly with marketing systems to like, how could I possibly charge for a get out of debt course? I'm like, I don't know. It's work that you have to do. You're not a nonprofit. You have to eat too. So like teaching my friends and colleagues then, and then I just built a marketing company after that and started working with strangers, less my friends and more people that I didn't know yet. And when you do digital marketing, you kind of just do whatever comes to you. So it was everything from like web design to blog posts to videos to content. We at one point built a content marketing agency and then shuttered that when I realized I don't know how to make that work profitably. I had a post-it on my desk for a year and a half that said, goal, make as much as any one of my freelancers. Not any of all of them combined, but like, and so I realized I'm much better with the ideation and the brainstorming and the working one-on-one with people or working with people in groups. And so since about 2021, I've been really focused on helping solopreneurs do their digital marketing or build products that didn't already exist to help them create new revenue streams. That was probably a long answer to a short question.
No, but I love it.
It took us all the way through to today. I'm sorry, Claire. Did you have a question?
I have a lot of questions.
I know.
I have so many questions because now I'm
this
like,
is the reason.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me prompt you. Can I prompt you? This is the reason that I wanted you to meet Kathleen Celmins, because with the 24,000 people that you have in your group and the 362 that I have in my group and growing in San Antonio, all of these women have these great ideas, but they get up and they go to a job every day. And I know that those ideas can turn into an income and a career and a
huge
brand.
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Because I'm sitting here going, I've got so much that I want to still build and do. And I'm wanting to go, okay, what's your availability? What's the cost of this? What does this look like? 30 days sounds great.
And
15 sounds even better.
Yeah. And tomorrow would be great because some of the women, some of the women that I've met here in San Antonio that I met and have known kind of up to COVID, and then COVID hit and they went away. Well, the reason that they went away is because their careers disappeared. And now, they get an email or they get a Facebook message from me, and then they join PowerWomen, and then they show up at a mixer that I go to, and I'm like, where have you been? Well, my theater company went bankrupt. And so now I'm working for the biggest insurance conglomerate in the world, and I'm almost done with my 90 days training, and then I can have health insurance. So it's just it's not miserable for them because they're doing what they need to do for their families, but you can just tell that the spirit has gone. And so if we can somehow get that back using experts like you, Kathleen, and then actually some of them that are already in PowerWomen, we can lift everybody up with the support that we have here in the groups.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It's absolutely what it is. And so, coming to you, I want to ask real quick, as a new customer, as a new client, what does that look like? What does that process kind of look like? And I'm sure that everybody's is different and and all that. But there are things I do need to discuss with you. So, if I did come to you and I need to build these training modules and video content and all that, what does that look like?
Yeah. So I have a general framework that I work through. Typically, somebody comes to me with an idea. Hey, I have X training for Y people, or hey, I saw somebody do a training on this and they didn't do a very good job, but 800 people showed up. And so I was doing the math and I think I could do it better. I love that. Because that's like, you prove the market, and you're right. Usually, when I'm working with somebody, we take that and we take it apart. So I'm working right now with an author, a self-published author, who wants to to sell a book and then have the people who buy the book take another step with her. Well, you can't do that if you just have it on Amazon, because Amazon doesn't share any data with you.
No.
Why would they? They don't need to.
Right.
So building a sales funnel with that. I'm very transparent in my use of AI, because otherwise, my clients would think that I have like a team of 80 people getting stuff done, because we get things done really quickly.
That's awesome.
And so, taking that and asking AI, what do you think the supplemental materials should be? Let's make this, instead of a $10 ebook, let's make this a $27 kit on the front end. And then let's talk about the upsells and the whole thing. But when people are really thinking about building something, and this is something that I've just started doing in the last 6 months or so with my own stuff, is write the ad copy first. Write your sales page, and so you write your sales page first, but if you write your ad copy first, then you're going to write a sales page that that is congruent with the ad copy.
Mhm.
And then you're going to use all your energy, because that beginner energy, it's like the beginning of the New Year's energy. Like, this year's going to be different for some reason, right? And if you use
For
that
some reason, I'm gonna really love to work out this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a different person who eats vegetables every single minute. But like, you take that energy. Usually, people take that energy and put it into creation, content creation, the product creation. You make it the best thing it is, and then you run out of steam, and you don't know why your ads aren't converting, and the whole ecosystem of digital products relies on ads. Or a really intense organic social media strategy where you're like out there pounding the pavement, 25 stories a day, and 5 reels and dancing, and you see your sign already, and we're not even doing it. So if you write your ads, if you create your ad copy and you create your ad creative first, and then you like pin it up on a digital or physical cork board, and you build the product that you just wrote about, then you're so much farther along, and you're like ready to go by the time you're at the finish line. Because usually it's like a marathon. You end up at the finish line and you fall over. You go for the ice bath, and you put your running shoes in the trash.
When you say that you're leveraging AI, because I get all that because I've done all that. I've not done the ad copy first, though. Are you using AI to write the ad copy as well?
So, yeah. So usually, so Facebook does Meta has an ad library that's public. So if you go and find, so you go and you look on your Facebook feed and you find the first ad that catches your eye, not for a competitor, not necessarily for something that's the same as yours, but something that caught your eye. Then you go look it up in the Meta ad library, and there's like, you find that, let's say you find the very first one you look at, you find like 80 different ads that are pretty similar. So you know that it's working. So that like nobody makes 80 ads that don't convert. It's too expensive. So then you take the copy and you say, okay, this is this for kitty litter. I want it for a digital product that, whatever. Explain it to it. And then it'll rewrite it. The AI will help you rewrite it. And then you've got a good starting point. It's not going to be perfect, because of course not, but it's way better than going from something in your head to a blank piece of paper for ad copy.
So just to get clear, you and I are working together, but AI is going to write my stuff.
No. AI is not going to write your stuff.
Okay,
because
then
nobody needs another.
AI, right.
Where
I
does
think
the
AI
AI
is
come
going to
in?
prompt you.
Okay.
So AI, you say, I have an idea for a product that's going to help my 32,000 women do something, right? And you've got a backlog of content. So you can train AI to write like you, so it doesn't unleash the rocket emoji. And
because that's not happening.
Delve and use all that. Like, all the AI
emoji. I do not emoji.
No. I do not. And unleash the rocket emoji is very much like a ChatGPT thing.
Right.
Like, that word has been used about 1,000% more times than it needs to.
Hieroglyphics went out a long time ago.
So what it does is it helps you brainstorm. Like, hey, and I use Claude.ai more because ChatGPT does a good job with a lot of technical stuff, and Claude is just much more creative and much more reasonable.
I've
so
never
the more you
dated
give
a
it, the more
I could do Claude.
it's wonderful.
I use AI for
well
precisely that thing, Kathleen, for precisely what you just said, the brainstorming aspect. Because I like to write, my newsletter. It helps me curate the ideas and get down to the nitty gritty, so I'm not, basically talking in circles. Can we change gears real quick? Because we really need to hit on we need to hit on your family.
Because I don't know what the hell AI is. Y'all
Well,
lost
yeah.
me
So,
altogether. When she
but
said
but
Claude,
again,
I was
hold
like, at
on,
least it has
hold
a
on.
man's name.
But hold on. Claire has curated her business and her life to have other people do things for her. Just like
I have
Darren.
all the AI, but they're real people.
Right. Exactly. So she has done
I
it
had
well.
AI before AI.
Queen Claire. But I'd like to
we
talk a
cannot.
little bit
We
about
cannot.
I'd like to talk a little bit about
That is not
your
my
home
name.
life. I'd like to talk a little bit about your home life.
Kathleen's.
Kathleen's,
go
we know
Kathleen's,
yours.
not
Good Lord.
mine.
No.
Shit.
Yours has been drug out of the mud enough. This is true. So can we talk about like where you live and your support system that you have, your family? Because this is what I run into.
How
Because
your
I,
mama?
Sure.
I
Yep.
pride myself on being this independent financial planner now, and it is a lonely life because I don't get up and I go to an office anymore. So can we talk about how you stay motivated, how you stay inspired, and then what it's like to work from home and all of that?
Yeah, so it's funny because first of all, I live in the suburbs of Phoenix. My husband's a stay-at-home dad, and I have 2 young girls at home. A 7-year-old, she would want you guys to know that she's almost 8.
That counts.
Love
That's
and
a
a
big deal.
5-year-old. It does.
Yes.
It does. It matters. It really. I mean, I'm so sorry. It's recorded, and I said 7, and I think motivation is really important. And so I really go to a lot of networking events 2 to 3 times a week if I can, if I've got the energy. There's some really cool networking events here in the Phoenix metro area. And I've got a group of friends that we go with, and we carpool and we make it fun. And if it's a bust, then we go get tacos afterwards. Like it ends up being like a fun activity anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I've been working from home since 2013. So I think like it was funny when people came to me before the pandemic and they would ask like if I could, sign for a package for them or go pick up somebody from the airport for them or all those things that you ask people when you don't think that working from home is actually working. Nobody does that anymore now that we've all been at home. But they did ask at the beginning of the pandemic, like some tips and tricks. And I had a friend ask if we could have a Zoom, and we jumped on Zoom, and he said, "You're dressed. You have makeup on." I was like, "Yeah, I do. I have to." Like, and this is how I get things done. Like,
This is
I can't
work.
I don't work. I have never worked from my pajamas. It's never ever worked for me. So like, so I do have just I treat it like an office, except that I don't leave my house.
So you
except to
skipped right
network or
over some of that
exercise.
real quick and easy, Kathleen, but I'm going to go right back to it. So you're married. How long?
It'll be 10 years in September.
Nice. You have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. Your husband's a stay-at-home dad.
Yes.
You work full-time and at home. So that where we are from is atypical in the South.
Yes.
And
Yes. It's not typical here either.
okay. And so there's a lot to unpack there and a lot of lessons. And can I ask you some personal questions?
This is
Sure.
called PowerWomen.
So did you
Kathleen is
take
here.
his-
She is ready
Yeah,
to she's
did
ready
you-
to answer.
Yeah, she is. I'm all for it. Did you take his last name? Okay.
For branding purposes. My maiden name is O'Malley. And there's the
Oh.
Kathleen O'Malleys of this world are pretty wide and varied. We are a blue ribbon baker in Wisconsin. We are a now retired Ninth Circuit Supreme Court Justice in DC.
Yep.
And I was like, 10 years ago, I was like, I'm never going to make page 1 for Kathleen O'Malley. So
This is
I
true.
took his last name. Honestly, and that's the truth. Like the reason I took his last name.
Interesting. And so both of your children, girls, boys?
Girls.
Girls.
Oh, nice. And so what is it like? And how is it so different from how you were raised and brought up in the dynamic that you have chosen to raise your girls? And what are you teaching them that's so different?
It's funny. I think it's like there's what you think you're teaching and what you're actually teaching, right? Like because they see the kids missing nothing.
No.
So so like they see me home. I do my very best to be done working by 3 every day. And I'm usually I'm mostly successful with that. Projects and deadlines notwithstanding. But like they see me working and they think my work is just so fun because anytime they see me working, they see me like editing a presentation or making edits to a video, and they're like, so you're or like I'm making edits to a video that I'm on. They're like, why are you talking to yourself? Like, this is so silly. um and then like I try to be really present for them. Both of my parents worked 40 hours a week out of the house. My mom worked far away from home, so like 45 minutes away from home. So we were home a lot by ourselves. But my kids are so young that I don't like whatever you grow up with is normal, right? So they just see it as is. And they're just I don't know. You'll have to ask them, or they'll tell their therapist when they're older.
And they
what sort of impact I've made.
They go to school. They go to public school or private school?
Public school. I live in a state that doesn't have great public education, but I live in a district that has some of the best in the country.
Nice. So tell me, what are some things you've experienced, as being the woman that works and the husband that stays at home? What are some things you've experienced from stay-at-home moms? What are some things you've experienced from other working women that are, that you would not expect?
Or that you were shocked by?
It's funny because
or you're just like,
yeah.
I mean, I haven't like I get like when I say it, sometimes people are impressed. They're like, "Whoa," or like, "You must do really well." I'm like, "Okay, like, okay, like we don't need to do like." Thank you. Yes, like, but you, it's all a choice, right? I don't get asked a lot like who's taking care of my kids. I know a lot of women get asked that when they're out doing things. Nobody asks me that. Maybe because I don't often talk about my kids in work. I because I was an entrepreneur before I was a mom, I was like, do I have to become like a mompreneur who has to like talk about nap time and bottles and stuff? I don't want to.
yeah.
So I have like 2 really good friends that I see once a month in Phoenix. We're going out tonight. We go to some like fancy swanky happy hour in Scottsdale or Phoenix or whatever. And they don't know my kids' names. I mean, they probably do, but like if pushed, right? They've never met them. I don't come and talk about them. They don't ask about them. And it like I think like it's so easy to make all these assumptions. But when I was 24, my best friend had a kid and I thought, do I have to like ask about his diapers and stuff? And she was like, no, everybody else says you can just ask about me. And like, I think you just get to decide how you show up. And you also like, I don't have a lot of memories about that because you also get to decide what you remember to be offended by. And life's too short.
Oh, that's good. I'm taking that one.
Well said, Kathleen.
I'm taking that one.
Well
Writing that one down. I will point
but
out
I do find that interesting.
I will point out that the Masters was won by Scotty Scheffler, and in his post-round interview, he talked about his upbringing, and he said, "My dad was a stay-at-home dad. My mom worked, and she's the one that supported us." And Scotty Scheffler is 27. He has 2 little sisters, and I was like, and I thought about you, Kathleen, and I was like, this is. And he also talks very confidently and very nonchalantly about his faith. And it's like this societal programming that we've adopted, that what you're doing shouldn't be weird, for lack of a better word.
No.
Like, me being married to a woman and making the conscious decision not to have kids, that shouldn't be the, something where somebody says, oh, well, she's different, or that's not what you're supposed to do, kind of a thing. So I think we're
Right.
pushing back those labels and those kinds of, those bad social
Yeah.
programming that, we should always be, trying to strive to be the same or fit into everything. So good on you. But yeah, I'm taking
Yeah,
that one.
there's finally-
Oh,
we
thank
choose
you.
we choose what we
we're
remember
finally
to be
making
offended
space
by.
for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're finally making space and tolerance for all of us round pegs that don't fit in these square holes. And so I'm so
Right?
grateful. Yeah, it's
And
true,
that are
but it's
sideways.
needed and it's high time. Yeah. And it's like, and then finally we're going to look around and say, you know what? And there's triangles too. And welcome. And, we're happy to have you. And so I think it's fabulous. I think it's so good. And I think it's such a model for your girls to show them that there are no limits and that anything is possible. And that all models are good models. And that love is there and it's present. And we're a team and we're going to do what it takes. And I also really love your business. I love how
Thank you.
Yes, it's an amazing thing. Well, it's such a niche that we don't have and we need so much because, frankly, women, we've been told no for a long time and that our ideas don't matter. And we've just been cooking them up for centuries. And so I can't wait for so many of them to
Right.
explode that you're going to be able to help
Yeah.
change the world.
And to your point, Claire, we need to focus more on those people that are not only taking advantage of having this space, but we need to focus more on the positive stories that come out of that and start to leave behind the negative connotation and have it be normal that people are stepping up for everybody and bringing everybody up. So good.
Thank you
Kathleen,
for doing it.
thank you so
thank
much.
you for sharing.
Thank you.
We went through, we could take this entire podcast and you could write your autobiography.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes and check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.